Story 1. To know for certain that my autistic daughter, who needs 24/7 care, I've raised her alone for 18 years so far, will have someone who can love her and be there for her after I'm gone.
First off, I am a woman, not your buddy. Also, if you look through my post history, you would know I'm not a bot. I am just a woman in her mid-40s answering a question on Reddit. I left my ex-husband when she was 7 weeks old and filed for divorce. He cannot care for himself, let alone someone else. Both of my parents are dead. My siblings are not in a position to care for her, nor do they understand her various daily needs. I have close friends, but they are quite busy with their own neurotypical teenagers and cannot take on my now adult child who cannot care for herself in the world. My daughter has specific needs regarding routine, many dislikes and likes, emotional triggers, and so on. I know her so well and have been there every day of her life to guide her through it all. Prior to having her, I was in my late 20s with a Bachelor of Arts in English and had a plan to get my master's. I had a decent job and thought my marriage was going well. I never expected not to have emotional support for her and me. I never wished that she would be facing a cruel world that doesn't understand that autism isn't a defect. It is an identity. She is brilliant, and I love her more than anything else in the entire world. Secondly, a trust? Speech therapy, occupational therapy, in-home therapies, and an educational advocate do not come cheap or easily. There is no trust. Any single mom who has to care for a neurodivergent child will tell you how quite literally fucked the American special education system is. The Department of Developmental Services approved her for adult services, but not residential living options, because her IQ does not meet their criteria for her needing full-time care. I live in Massachusetts, which is actually one of the best autism-friendly states. Yet here we are. Parents cannot get what they desperately need for their children because of red tape and technicalities. If you think my story is so unbelievable that I must be a bot, I suggest you spend some time speaking with autistic individuals and their parents. My story is not unique. It is quite common. It took a lot of courage to answer a Reddit question honestly with my story, and I don't appreciate feeling as if I have to justify my situation to people like you. Have the day that you deserve.
Story 2. I'd wish that people would think of my epitaph when they look back at me. Story 3. Questioning, is it guaranteed to be granted? Well, since we're not hearing from the original poster, I'm assuming the answer is yes. I want full access to and control of all dimensions, and to be able to choose when I die, and to be able to pass this talent to anyone I choose. Story 4. Let my children be filled with a full, happy, and beautiful life. Story 5. To be completely at peace with the decisions I have made in my life. Some of them haven't made me proud of who I am as a person, but they still helped make me who I am. I just hope the good ones have inspired others to also make good decisions. Story 6. That people would learn the difference among the different forms of lie and lay. Story 7. That I somehow win the lottery while I'm still alive, and am of sound enough mind to donate my millions to dog rescue and welfare. Don't come at me about people. I do more than enough for them in my everyday life. Story 8. I'll die hoping that I've put some measure of grace and kindness back into the world, and in some way made the lives of those around me a little better. Story 9. My children, know that I have loved every moment with you. My greatest wish in life was to be here with you. You made every part of my life beautiful and so happy. Story 10. For my entire body to continue to grow in size after I'm dead. It would get out of hand in a few hundred years. Story 11. To know every mistake I made, every wrong turn I took, and what my life would have been like if I hadn't made those mistakes and wrong turns.
They say, and I agree, that we learn more from our mistakes than from success. Doing that would definitely be an interesting thing to see.
Story 12. I would like to go out with a bang, please. Literally. Find me a hot dude willing to bang a 40-year-old goth chick into oblivion. Story 13. Assuming, hoping, it's in the distant future, hopefully at least 40+ years from now. It would be for Elder Scrolls 6 to be released. Story 14. I want my corpse to be fossilized. Bury it in a floodplain where it will slowly be covered over by layers of silt for a few million years. Then, future paleontologists can speculate about my battered, part-titanium skeleton. Chuckles. Story 15. I wish my partner would be by my side, giving me his loving butterfly kisses and wrapping me up like a burrito in the blanket as I lay there in his arms. I'd say goodbye to my children, wish them happiness and longevity, and remind them I love them so much. Then I'd yield my body to research on the matter that killed me, so others would not need to go through the things I had gone through. Story 16. That a catastrophic or apocalypse-type event happens right before, and everyone else is dead too, or at least most of them. Story 17. Is it a foolproof guaranteed thing? If so, I want everyone in the world wiped out so society can get a true reset. At this point, it's the only way. Story 18. Warm my daughter and grandson would have happy, healthy, long lives in a peaceful, protective country. Story 19. Please make any and all potentially embarrassing items disappear to spare my family. Thank you. Story 20. I have pets. I'd want to know that they'll be looked after and have the best life they can. And whoever does that looking after can have my house. Story 21. Let's get out of here and feed my body to the sharks. It's way more efficient and beneficial to the ocean than burning me and dealing with my ashes. Story 22. To see the sunset in Bali by the beach one last time with my wife and kids. Exhale my last breath as the sun sets. Story 23. To be in a hospital or a care home so my family doesn't have the burden of the physical care or of finding me dead at home. Story 24. All my favorite fuck buddies in an orgy. Like, fuck it. Bring the baddest bitches out. And yes, some of them are gay. It'll be extra amazing that way. Story 25. That my family and friends will be taken care of and experience kindness in their lives. Story 26. That my family and loved ones know how much I love them, because I can't stop death, but I refuse to regret it. Story 27. Find him, bind him, tie him to a pole and break his fingers to splinters. Drag him to a hole until he wakes up naked, clawing at the ceiling of his grave. Story 28. For all suffering, grief, and sickness everywhere to end permanently for anyone else. Story 29. A pimento cheese and bacon sandwich and some real ice cream. If I'm not going to have to pay for eating it tomorrow, let's go. Story 30. I want to release the things I've learned to the world. I'm autistic and so many things were never taught to me. I had to learn them through trial and error and heartbreak. I want the world to have a book of this information so no one has to go through the bullshit I had to go through. Story 31. Let's get a keg of beer and play a game of how many would do the trick. In this climate, why not? Story 32. To die. I'd rather not spend time second-guessing every decision I made. Like, let's just get this over with. Story 33. The people never again have to fight for healthcare. That it becomes a right for all humans instead of a privilege only for the rich. Story 34. I just want my kids to be happy and live a less painful life than I have. There isn't really anything left that I want for myself. Story 35. That my loved ones have happy lives. I'm still young, but they shouldn't despair over my death. They deserve to be happy. Story 36. Warmly, that my kitties are taken care of and pampered to the highest degree for the rest of their lives. Story 37. To die peacefully, quickly, without pain. And for all those I love, who love me, or who need to experience my death for closure, to be around me and get the love or closure they need. Story 38. To know what happened to all the people who mistreated me in my lifetime, and if they got their comeuppance. If they did, I could die happy. Story 39. That my family knows how much I love them, and that they move forward and be happy. Story 40. I'd probably want a chicken enchilada and chili relleno combo from my favorite Mexican restaurant. Story 41. Chuckles to see a boob one last time. Started with one, and I'd like it to end with one. Story 42. To send out love. Everything is forgiven and forgotten. How much I appreciated everyone in my life, regardless of how we feel. Be that same love to all your relationships, because one day they will end. Story 43. I don't really think I have one, other than wanting people to chill out and stop doing wars and stuff. Story 44. The Iron Man suit is brought to life by a good person who goes to take out all the bad people. Story 45. No clue. I don't think you care when you're that close to death. I'll just say a hot woman to ride me, but I doubt I'd care at that point. Maybe give me some heroin so I can see what the fuss is all about. Story 46. Let me rip some ketamine and give me a DMT cartridge. And then, when I die, set me on fire and launch me into the ocean via trebuchet. Story 47. If I had one wish, it would be to wish for a big enough ass for the whole world to kiss. Story 48. That depends on what I'm dying of. It also depends on whether I'm single or not. If I'm single, it's going to be wanting connection with someone still. If I'm married, it's going to be grief at how my wife and kids will be if I'm not there to help. The only cases in which I would really be okay with dying are if it's something extremely painful that has no cure or pain-reducing therapy, or losing my ability to have a normal quality of life. Nightmare scenario is that locked-in state where you're totally there but paralyzed, so people presume you're not. Optimally, I'd probably wish I came into a financial windfall, so maybe I could continue to either seek treatment or know my loved ones will be financially secure. Story 49. If it couldn't be for me, I'd really like to give everyone in the USA single-payer healthcare on the way out. Story 50. For all my friends, family, and their families to have good fortune for the next 100 lifetimes. Story 51. My dying wish is that heaven feels as safe and comfortable as waking up in bed with my boyfriend and our cat on a nice cozy morning. No chores or responsibilities, just waking up on a day that I know we can spend together. Nothing feels safer than that, and I hope heaven can compare. Story 52. Call Patton Oswalt and have me be a character in the movie Deathbed 2. The bed that eats people. Eat your heart out, James Cameron. It'll make $1 trillion. Story 53. To be reborn, along with everyone I know and have a positive relationship with, into a world that is like Earth but where dragons and mythical creatures exist. They like good people but will kill anyone who is truly evil. You can also magically edit yourself or shapeshift, but you have to learn how to be what you shapeshift into. I have all my memories and am the same as when I died. That me being on my deathbed was just a hyper-realistic dream, and I'm actually perfectly fine despite having a scary nightmare about dying. Story 54. That my daughter will be happy and successful in whatever she chooses to do with her life. Story 55. I'm resentful that it didn't happen sooner. Most of my life has been generally unpleasant. Story 56. Well, when I caddied for the llama, he told me I would have total consciousness on my deathbed, so I've got that going for me, which is nice. Chuckles. Story 57. If I could restart life with all the knowledge I have now, how much money I could have made, how many people I could have saved. Story 58. That my family never stops growing, learning, exploring, and living their lives to the fullest. Especially my daughter. May the universe bless her with the wisdom that I would not be able to share in life. Story 59. Is my mom alive? I need her to be happy and peaceful. If not, I really want my cats with me. Story 60. Never to be born into this damn world of hatred, where people will always find a reason to hate each other. In school, because you, or I listen to different music, follow a different religion, have different political views, different skin color, or simply because we were born on another part of the earth. And in the end, I'd scream something like, I'm finally free from all this shit, farted and died. Story 61. Isaiah 38 verse 3. I beg you, O Jehovah, remember please, how I have walked before you faithfully and with a complete heart, and I have done what was good in your eyes. And Hezekiah began to weep profusely. Story 62. That everyone I loved in my life, and the ones who loved me, be always happy for the rest of their lives, and that they not let the grief of losing me hinder them. Story 63. Dr. Pepper, and everything bagel, mocha frappe, lobster, New York strip, potato, quarter pounder, Jaeger, wine, cheesecake, Marlboro Lights, and my doggies to share it with. Story 64. To be aware of this final process. I can't recall my birth. Being fully present for the death experience would be ideal. To feel that release of the mortal coil. The best moment of acting in Val Kilmer's career is as Doc Holliday, dying. His face, as he feels his soul slip out of his body like a silk handkerchief in a top pocket. The relief and release in his eyes. And that moment of realization, he knows this is his final moment. And it's magnificent. Story 65. For my body to explode with the light of a billion suns, no harmful effects, just the light. Story 66. To have all my true friends, family members, cousins, aunts, uncles, and my grandmother there with me for my last moments. Especially some of my friends that I haven't seen in years. Story 67. Remember me, miss me, but don't let the end of my life be the end of yours. Also delete my browser history. Story 68. To have chocolate shared with me at my grave, and my music played whenever my family visits. Story 69. I want her to tell me that they will all be fine and I can go. Then I can give her one last nose kiss. Story 70. The dog better go to a good home. That's not a wish, it's a threat. I've written his whole schedule and various language commands. They're stashed in random spots in my home. Put it together. He's not a fan of change. Story 71. That my pets live a happy and healthy life and don't go to a shelter, even if they are rehomed outside of the family. Story 72. That everyone I love knows, without a shadow of a doubt, that they were loved by me. Not just assumed it or kind of felt it, actually knew it. My biggest fear isn't dying. It's dying with things left unsaid. I've started just saying them now. Randomly texting people, hey, you matter to me. Life's too short to save the important stuff for the end. Story 73. I hope my family will get the life insurance payout and be in a better place financially. $200,000 minus the $5,000 deductible will pay off the house. Get them a better car, pay off the credit card, pay for a new roof, and still leave a sizable nest egg for the kids. I wish I could see them grown up and see the people they will become, but I've made plans to leave them better off. Story 74. That I'm remembered in a positive way. That things I've said, done, or created outlive me for another few decades, at least. Story 75. Tell everyone to pick a slip of paper from a prepared bowl beside the bed. It's all my favorite last lines. They are honor-bound to tell everyone they know that their slip was my last words, cementing my memory as a witty, amusing, and slightly bugfuck crazy dude. Chuckles. Also saves me some breath. Story 76. Chuckles in my own bed, with a belly full of wine and a maiden's mouth around my cock, at the age of 80. Tyrion Lannister. Story 77. That my kids are happy, not that I'm dying. I mean that they live long, happy lives. Story 78. To tell my closest friends and loved ones that my treasure is theirs for the taking, but they'll have to find it first. After all, I did leave it in one piece. Story 79. That all of the cats and dogs I've ever had are waiting for me on the other side. Story 80. To get sucked by either Elevens or Creepy Susie from the Oblongs. Story 81. To see Trump killed before my dying eyes. I could have a couple of shots to celebrate his death before mine.